Hello, I'm Thomas McKenna, and today I'll be performing Conflict from Compromise, the Anglo-Irish Treaty. An uneasy peace hung over Ireland. In October of 1921, the bloody guerrilla war between Britain and Ireland had ended. Treaty negotiations were about to begin. It's been 2 long years of fighting, but we have finally brought the British to the negotiations table. I, Michael Collins, a former military officer, am invited by President Eamon de Valera to be a delegate on the Irish negotiations team. While I'm uncertain of what will come of this treaty with the British, I am ready to do my duty to my country. I, Eamon de Valera, am President of Ireland, even though I was born in New York. Here in Ireland, there is still trouble, but not just between the Crown and us Irish in this case. It is my firm insistence that this treaty must give us our entire freedom from Britain. However, my comrade, Michael Collins, and his colleague, Arthur Griffith, wish to compromise with Lloyd George, the British Prime Minister, and keep us under the British Crown. But I have devised a plan that they will propose titled External Association that will keep Ireland associated with the British Empire while not being under the British Crown itself. In short, we will not be forced to be loyal to them. De Valera made several questionable moves when trying to negotiate with the British. For starters, he gave 2 pro-compromise individuals, Michael Collins and Arthur Griffith, the top 2 places on the Irish negotiations team. While neither Collins nor Griffith were bad negotiators, selecting them to lead made De Valera's own goal of independence harder to achieve. On top of that, De Valera didn't even go with them to negotiations. He justified his decision by claiming that I was providing for the contingency that war might resume should negotiations fail. In addition to remaining at home, another questionable move De Valera made was demanding external association. Even though Ireland, negotiating with the British superpower, didn't have much leverage, Michael Collins, on the other hand, wanted independence, but understood that a compromise with the British was the realistic stepping stone to independence. So why? Why did Eamon de Valera send Griffith and Collins, men he disagreed with, to negotiate for him? Why propose a plan that would never be signed by British plenipotentiaries? Because it suited him politically. He knew that a compromise was inevitable, but didn't want to mar his image as a die-hard Irish Republican. So, sending Collins to negotiations would ensure that the blood of a compromise would be on the hands of Michael Collins, not De Valera's own. These errors of self-hindrance and impossible proposals weren't errors at all. They were strategically calculated decisions. We'll watch and see how the clash between Michael Collins and Eamon de Valera, the intra-Irish conflict, sparked the Irish Civil War. Lloyd George, the British Prime Minister, saw right through De Valera's proposal and was ready to put a stop to it. The British government and I, Lloyd George, see all proposal of external association as impossible. It is independence, not association. Upon hypothetical enactment, the British government would be demonstrating that we would simply let free one of our territories. The British Parliament would smash the proposal to atoms. It is, as I said, impossible. De Valera's plan he calls external association is a fantasy, and Lloyd George knows it. We must compromise with the British in order to prevent further conflict and bloodshed. Unfortunately, the true conflict in this matter is not between us and Great Britain, but rather the clash between Eamon and me. It could bring mass destruction to Ireland. Negotiations were not over, and the intra-Irish conflict was red hot. Late in the night, on December 5th, Collins and his team were hesitant to sign a treaty that would grant dominion status to Ireland, a place in the British Empire, not independence. That night, Lloyd George was becoming rather impatient. "Here are the alternative letters which I prepared. One, enclosing articles of agreement reached by His Majesty's government and yourselves, and the other, saying that Sinn Féin representatives refuse to come within the Empire. If I am to send this letter, it is war, and war within 3 days. Which am I to send? Decide whether you will give peace or war to your country." On December 6th, 1921, Collins and his team signed the Anglo-Irish Treaty. Ireland was given dominion status in the British Empire, something that De Valera wasn't too happy about. "I strongly oppose this treaty, Collins. It requires an oath of allegiance to the British Crown. You may dream of independence, but truth is truth. Your mind may not have limits, but David Lloyd George does. Rejection of this treaty means that your national policy is war. I would have told them to go to the devil. I would not sign. We were going nowhere with your proposal. This was the best we had. You have denied the nation of Ireland its freedom. But the treaty gives us freedom. Not the ultimate freedom that all nations desire, but the freedom to achieve it. The cabinet has voted. The treaty will be presented to a chamber of the Irish Parliament, the Dáil. As President of the Irish Republic, I am walking out of the Dáil in protest. Collins, deserters all! We will call on the Irish people to rally to us. Deserters all! You oathbreaker, you coward, Lloyd Georgeite, foreigner, American, English! The treaty would be approved by a 64 to 57 vote. But the intra-Irish conflict would spark a civil war. While the prospect of renewing war with Britain had been the key reason for accepting the treaty would simply escalate the intra-Irish conflict to the point of a bloody intra-Irish civil war. Our country is in a more lawless and chaotic state than it was under British rule. I find myself in far more danger since the peace came than I ever did in war. Michael Collins would be ambushed and assassinated in August of 1922. Civil war, on the other hand, would last a year, with those in favor of the treaty prevailing. One newspaper would write that more hurts would be done to Ireland in 2 months of civil war than in 2 years of the war against Britain. We like to view compromise as promising a lasting peace. Instead, the compromise of the Anglo-Irish Treaty yielded a deadly civil war. Peace hadn't come yet, but many believed that the treaty was not the journey's end, but rather one more step on the road to peace. Arthur Griffith, one of Collins's colleagues, will go on to say that the treaty is no more a final settlement than we are the final generation on the face of the earth. Though Collins would never live to see it, Ireland would use the treaty as a stepping stone to independence in August of 1949. But until then, peace and independence would have to wait until another day.